All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to VT Politics or One Nation Under God, whichever channel you're going to see this on. I'm Vlad. This is Matt.
You're in my studio today.
Yep. So we're here in Matt's studio, and we're going to talk about what Matt does for a living, why he does it, because he's in the Patriot community, Trump supporter, donates to the Trump campaign, Patriot-owned company, and you're in the gold and silver industry. And why do you think it is important right now for people to be prepared? You know, we got the election, we got World War III, I believe it's here. But why is this the industry you got into, and what you warn people about what might happen, what they're planning?
Well, it's a great question, and I'll tell you this, Vlad. I've been doing it a long time. I think my first infatuation with gold and silver actually came as a kid. I was at the swimming pool in my hometown of Port Washington in Long Island, and we had a place called Manor Haven Pools, the public swimming pool. And I'll never forget, we were in the section, you know, the food concession, and I saw this really bright coin on the ground. I picked it up, and it turned out to be a 64 Kennedy, a 1964 Kennedy $50, which, you know, at the time in the early 90s, that was not a big deal. You'd still find, you know, silver coin, you know, you'd still find you go to your bank, get a roll of quarters, you'd probably get a couple silver quarters in there. No one really cared. But it just always kind of stuck with me. Just maybe it was the look of it. I don't know. But as I got into my 20s and then my 30s, I found gold and silver to be a really good savings tool. And then I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, there's companies out there that sell this stuff. Hey, I can make a living doing this. So for the last 10 years, I've been, you know, selling physical gold, physical silver, whether it be, you know, shipping the stuff to people's doorsteps or doing it through IRAs and 401ks. And I just think it's a very important, for me, it was a savings tool. You know, that's for me. Like, I've been buying it for so many years. It was a great way to save money. Now I think the shift is, sure, it's still a savings tool, but I think it's something that bridges you. We have this, you know, you talk about it on your podcast all the time, which is you have the system that's failing. I mean, look at we live in clown world. This system's going to fall apart. And when it does, what gold and silver really represents is it's going to get you through that period of chaos. I'm very confident that the good guys are going to win this. Trump, the good guys, right?
Yep.
I think that these guys are going to pull it off, but you're getting rid of the deep state, right? And when you get rid of the deep state, they own the banks, they own the medical system, they own the legal system. It's not going to come without consequence. If you want to get rid of these satanic bastards, which is what they are, it's going to come at a cost to all of us. And I think a way where you eliminate that cost to you is simply converting your money to physical gold and silver and just getting through this period of time.
So it's not a get rich quick.
It's not a get rich quick scheme. Sorry, man.
No, and with the few people that have been calling in, and what I keep hearing is a pattern of people that are worried about inflation eating away their money. Can you explain how gold and silver actually, when inflation is up, so is gold and silver? It's not a get rich quick scheme, but it's like that perfect balance.
A perfect question. So, what is the government admitting our inflation is?
Like 4%.
Like 2%.
Yeah.
Like 2%. So is that really moving gold? No, because they're not admitting this statistic is real. They're not admitting that the real inflation is 25%, 50%, right? So it's on a side note to your question is nothing's real until you hear it on the mainstream media. Until you see that inflation's 25% and you see that on MSNBC, it's not real. Even though it's real, it's just not being admitted by the news. And that's kind of this weird dynamic that we live in, right? What's really pushing up gold now is even the fake news is having to admit that the dollar is losing value.
Yeah. So
gold should really push up when the dollar starts going down. So for example, if you're somebody sitting there with, you know, money in, you know, a savings account, you know, one of these CDs, I get offered these things all the time, 5.5%, 5%, right? What good is 5.5% sitting in a bank account when your dollar just lost 10%? You're really getting negative 4.5%. Instead, if you had bought that gold before this happened, right before the inflation, it's going to keep going. Your gold, instead of it being, you know, let's say 2,000, your gold will now be worth 2,700. It's not that you made a $700 profit. It's just that's how much value the dollar's lost. So it's a little bit of a different dynamic than people think about.
What about with people that are in their IRAs, 401ks, stuff like that?
I think what gold and silver represents there is it represents really three factors. It gets you out of the markets, which are probably going to have major corrections, probably several of them, maybe a few 10,000 point corrections over the next couple months. So you're making money by not losing it, right? And you're locking in the gains, right? If you're somebody in stocks, you're locking in the gains at these all-time highs, right? That's a beautiful thing, right now, yeah, you made all this money. Let's lock it in. Let's secure it now. Secondly, is you're getting out of the dollar. Same example I just gave you, right? The dollar's losing value. So at the same time, okay, if you made a 50% gain last year, which would be insane, but let's say somebody made a 50% gain, but the dollar lost, half its value. What have you really made net? Really not that much.
Yep.
And thirdly, and I think this is the most important, is it's the counterparty risk in banks. These banks are failing left and right. I mean, look at 2023. I mean, banks, how many banks went out? 72?
Yeah.
72 banks went out in 2023. So, but it's not being reported on the news. And I think that's unfortunate. That's why I like reporting like yours is you go on and you tell people the truth. You show them the things that the mainstream media is not talking about. And that's one of them.
Well, how can people reach you, get to you?
I mean, I would say just call. You can go on the VerityMetals.com website. You can schedule an appointment there. I would just say call away. That phone number, I take all my own calls. Call right in, VerityMetals.com. I can give you a good overview on your situation. I can really tailor to, kind of your experience. And yeah, just, have a good conversation, talk about, some of the stuff happening behind the scenes. I mean, we could talk all day about a lot of the stuff going on out there, and we will. But I just think it's a very important time that people see the writing on the wall and realize that, the deep state, if you want to take them down, they're not going to go quietly into the night. These guys are going to take down anything and everything they possibly can with them.
Yeah, it's like Israel and Russia. They both have Russia's called the dead hand. Israel is called the Samsung swing. Samsung in the Bible. He was a man of God, was very strong because he had long hair. Then he told this girl he was sleeping with, she cut his hair, he lost his strength. But then when his hair grew back, he was chained to like these big pillars that were holding up the whole entire kingdom. Yes, he killed himself, but he took down the other empire. Now, with Israel, if they are all wiped out, they actually have where their nukes just destroy everything in the Middle East. Russia has a computer system set as if Russia, like Moscow, Kremlin's taken out, their computer system launches every single nuke to Europe, Australia, and the United States. That's why they call it the dead hand. If we're going, you're going.
The dead man switch. Yeah, I've never heard that before, and it goes to show you just how powerful these people are, and the forces that, sometimes I sit here and I feel like, running a business, you got a lot of weight on your shoulders, and the way I get rid of that feeling sometimes is I think about Trump and the amount of weight that he has on his shoulders, and the things that he's got to deal with it makes my job, a walk in the park. So, yeah, it's crazy times. I don't think we're going to be going to nuclear war, but it wouldn't surprise me if, some tactical nuke went off somewhere, something that the good guys haven't found. But yeah, I think this is a good time, to prepare for that. Something like that did happen. It would certainly have a massive effect in the financial system. Just protect yourself.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, links down below in the description. Contact Matthew if you want to protect your IRAs, 401ks, your retirement, or your savings. Subscribe, go out and vote early. Don't wait. If you can vote early, if you're in a vote early state, do it in person. Make sure your vote is counted. Make it too big to rig. We're out. Boom. Edit this part out at the end.
Awesome.
There we go.